You just finished an amazing consultation with the lead. Everything went great, but you haven't heard back from them yet. Well, don't give up. There's some essential steps that you can take to turn that demo into a closed sale, and we're going to talk about it on today's episode. Good morning, everybody. Happy week to you. I'm here with Rogelio Rodriguez for an episode that we both are excited to present to you, our audience, and that's going to be what to do after you present a demo to up your chance of being able to close that sale. Rod's going to go through some really important tips on steps you can take on your end to keep things fresh, to keep the lead warm, and be able to close things out successfully for your company. Rod, thanks for taking some time today. You're in Boston this week, aren't you?
Yes, I am here in Boston for the Inbound Conference hosted by HubSpot every year. Super excited to be back this year again. It's always fruitful to connect with other sales and marketing professionals that are here. I think they're expecting like 20,000 people. It's a lot of people. It's a lot of
Wow.
individuals. Yeah, great networking, great learning opportunities. So continuing to build relationships in this ecosystem. Super exciting.
Absolutely. Always great to have you, even when you're 1,000 miles away. Who's the big speaker this year at the conference? Do you know?
Whew, man, I don't know. I mean, I have my list of the ones that I want to see. Dr. Huberman is going to be here from Huberman
Ooh,
Labs. Yeah, it's like
yep.
so super excited about that. And I have some friends actually speaking. Jen from the CEO from Smartbug Media, another agency that I consider like a worthy rival to us. Um,
Yep. Yep.
they She's going to be speaking about remote culture, so we're super excited about that.
All right, let's jump into our own little HubSpot workshop for our listeners this week. And that's what you can do to be able to make a post demo communication line succeed. Now, in your experience, I think a good place to start is, Rod, it's pretty standard in the home services industry that you do some sort of consultation, some sort of demo where you can be hands-on, show off the product, show off what the services are going to be. Where do you see most businesses go wrong when it comes to what to do after the consultation?
Yeah, I mean, I think just like first things first, right? You got to follow up, sending them like a thank you email immediately, or at least within 24 hours of the consultation, is going to help you really just summarize what you spoke about. Include the key takeaways, and also it gives you an opportunity to uh, clarify what the next steps are, right? What's expected of them. And then like another thing that I think would be helpful is a survey, right? That includes like feedback, a way to feedback on the consultation itself, to see how the salespeople are doing in terms of their presentation skills, the way that the customer felt about doing business with the company. And also it gives us an opportunity to see any issues that there may be, or any questions that are like still left in the customer's mind. So those two things, I think immediate follow up with an email and a survey are gonna is at least the first step to doing follow up in a way that's going to help you be more successful, for sure.
There really should never be a situation where the homeowner has to chase you, I'm assuming, right?
Right. It shouldn't. I mean, like, we use automation to do this, right? We know based on the fact that they have a meeting with the individual, we can send out an automation email an automated email that goes out and summarizes, right, the key points of the presentation and all that. We also automated the survey follow up, right, to gather feedback on how the salesperson does. So I think like there's an opportunity there for you to just uh, solidify that relationship through that quick follow up.
There's an upside, right? With the automation, you can speed things up and save time, but the downside to automation is that you lose personalization. So are there ways that you can, as you automate your processes and following up after a demo, what are some personalized steps you can take to make it feel more connective, that it's human to human, as opposed to here's just an automated message?
No, that's a great question. You know, what I've seen work really well for a lot of companies is personalizing a handwritten note, right? Something that stands out in the world that we're living in right now, that's all digital, right? Like you're getting text messages, you're getting Facebook messages all the time. A handwritten note is going to stand out from as a means of communication. It shows a level of personal attention that's really appreciated by the end user. And then, in addition to that, a quick call, right? I think a follow call to ensure that they have everything that they need to make the decision, and that can be impactful as well, right? Because that it takes time out of the salesperson's day or the company's day to really focus on the customer needs, both in a way that stands out with the handwritten note, but also with a personal human touch with the call.
I like that. Yeah, bridging the best of both worlds, having the personal touches that you can do, the face to face contact, the voice to voice, like you said, the handwritten note, that always gets me. I'll never forget, Rod, when I, in my previous career, when we were demoing different companies for IT positions, we did like 7 companies. And the one that stood out with us, they did the demo, they were in the top 3, but they sent us a handwritten thank you letter along with some cupcakes from one of the best bakeries in the city. And believe
Nice.
it or not, that simple step swung the board around to wanting to work with that company because it made them feel like they were seen, that they were special, and it put them just a little bit over the top. So I agree with what you're saying.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it all helps, right? I mean, I think you got to use it in combination with all the other tool sets you have, right? And I think because like the next step would be like, yes, the handwritten note, yes, the personal call, but you also have
Yeah.
digital tools that can help you follow up, right? Like on the different platforms, we can use retargeting so that they can see our ads again, to remind the homeowners
Yep.
about the services when they're online, showcase customer testimonials on there, right? Or product features. And then you can, like as I mentioned before, the CRM is a big piece of it, right? Because you're
Yeah.
combining that personal touch with the digital tool of a CRM that allows you to automate a lot of this follow up, and even maybe like if they don't close this month, you may have a special the following month, right? Like right now we just went through the Labor Day specials, right? Yesterday, so
Yeah.
there's
That's
always an
true.
opportunity to leverage the digital tools to make your life easier to follow up with them.
I want to break those down piece by piece because I think those were 2 great recommendations, Rod. When it comes to retargeting, are there specific social networks or search engines that you recommend home services companies really key in on for that?
Well, it's really more about where the homeowner is, right? So you have to make a concerted effort to find where that homeowner is. A lot of people are on
Yeah,
Facebook, right? Younger generation may be on TikTok,
that's true.
but younger generation is becoming homeowners slowly but surely, and you have to be aware of what platforms they're on so that you can take the most
Yeah.
um, get the most out of those retargeting ads. Google always works, right? I think people still research. They do a lot of the heavy intent based research on Google. So you definitely have to be there. I mean, that's like number one, right? Secondary, I would probably say Facebook for the age group that you're targeting, and then followed by TikTok.
Those are great tips. And then going to what you had mentioned about a CRM system, we talk about it all the time in the show. I'm sure listeners are used to it. We always recommend HubSpot, but just like as a 30-second reason, why should most companies think about HubSpot as the main option for being that central platform?
Well, I mean, it has it all connected, right? Your social presence, your ads, your pipeline. The tool itself is very complete. So you don't have to like exit the tool to do something else or to find content or context for somebody that you're speaking with, right? It's all in one place.
Right.
It has a very neat feature called a timeline. In the timeline, you can see the entire history of a contact, right? Whether they interacted with an ad, whether they filled out a form on a landing page, whether they booked a meeting, how many meetings you had, the calls that you made, all those things add to the building up of the relationship, right? And I think like it just goes back to, I mean, I guess you could call it like the Rolodex. If there are people out there that remember what the Rolodex is, it's a way
Yeah.
to sort your contacts and have a record of who they are, right? And there's a story about, I believe, Rockefeller, And at the end of his life, when somebody like found his Rolodex, he had like, I don't know, 8,000 people on the Rolodex, and the information he captured
Wow.
on that Rolodex was well beyond what a normal people would capture. He had the names of their spouses, their kids, the names of the dogs, their ages, right? Like he captured a ton of information. And right now, that same principle can apply, right, to using a tool like HubSpot that allows you to collect all that information, because that allows you to really personalize the experience to your customer, and not only like be a superficial relationship, right? You're able to go deeper because of the information that you're collecting and you're taking note of. So that's why.
Now, after a demo, Rod, not everyone's going to be ready to take the next step. What are some things that you can do on the sales end to help them along to get them to that point?
I think provide them with educational content, right? Like blog posts, ebooks, webinars. Educate the homeowner about the intricacies of the different um, services that you offer, whether it be window and door installation or impact garage doors, right? You're establishing your company as an authority in the field, and also addressing any common concerns or questions or misconceptions that the homeowner may have post consultation with you, right? You can even provide them an FAQ that will allow them to uh, answer those most common questions or concerns that other customers may have and they may be facing themselves.
Do you recommend that companies use the special offer approach after a demo?
Yeah, I alluded to it a little earlier, right? With just being mindful of events that are coming on, right? We just went through the whole Labor Day sale push for a lot of the retailers. The same thing applies for any home service business, window and doors, right? Like there's an opportunity that you can offer a discount that wasn't available the previous month, and it'll allow you to either like reach out with that new offer that may entice them to actually buy this time, or even offer perhaps financing options that you didn't have before, right? There's a lot of movement in the financing space, and there's companies that are coming out with creative ways to finance large home projects. So all these things, what they're doing is breaking down the barriers for them to do business with you, right? Make it easier for them. So definitely special offers is something that you need to consider in terms of your follow-up, especially if you didn't close, right, the deal.
I want to jump into your bag of tricks, Rod, like personally what you do. How do you nurture the client relationship? How do you really make people feel seen and even after the sale be able to keep that relationship intact? Give us some of your personal tips.
Yeah, I think regularly checking in with the customer, see how they're doing, especially like in a home service project, right? That may take like 90 days sometimes, or even longer, depending on what you're doing. Like a pool build may take 6 months, right? Because of the materials that you need to gather, the engineering, and all that. So scheduling regular monthly check-ins with the customers is going to be helpful to stay connected with them. And then also you can have customer events, right? Like I'll give you an example. Like we do the hug groups, right? We invite our customers to the HubSpot user group meetings, which allow us to not only like uh, continue the relationship with them, or and reestablish the relationship with certain people that have like maybe lost connections, but it also makes them part of the community itself, right? And I can give you an example, another example. Our one of our customers, Alco, he regularly donates, right, to companies or organizations that collect educational materials, right, to give away to underprivileged kids or schools that need book bags, notebooks, pens. What they consistently donate, and they participate in those community events, which brings them in touch with the people that they're serving as well. So it keeps them connected and increasing the loyalty that they get to the brand itself.
I'm just going to circle back to the how to keep it going after the sale, being able to keep people engaged, new products, new services. I've seen some companies use a referral program to help keep people engaged with the company. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I mean, look, that it helps word of mouth. Word of mouth is by far probably like the least expensive way to market, right? And you can offer a referral discount, so you can encourage individuals to introduce you to other homeowners. It really helps you expand that customer base, especially with the happy customers that you have. They've had a great experience with you. They'll have no trouble spreading the word. But also, either a discount or a small gift would go a long way in them doing it more often for you. Yeah.
And finally, one thing you say to me all the time, Rod, we work together closely. You've always instilled a message of the importance of improvising when needed, reviewing and adapting. How do you apply that to your sales process, especially when it comes to follow up after a demo or a consultation?
No, great question. I think like reflecting, right, is an important part of just everyday life, right? Like you set a plan in the morning, you execute the plan, and at the end of the night or at the end of the day, you're gonna reflect on what happened, because that gives you an ability to analyze what you're doing and how it's working, right? You got to be able to review the effectiveness of the strategies that you're using, whether it's KPIs, right? How many referrals you're getting from your referral program, how many people are looking at the FAQ, what are your
Yep.
conversion rates, customer feedback that you're gathering. All those things that we're talking about earlier in the podcast are going to be super helpful, but only if you're able to reflect upon uh, how it's working, right? Because that allows you to adapt, right, and be ready to pivot in anything that gives you uh, provided to you by that feedback, right? For example, if you notice that a specific salesperson is receiving the same feedback, or maybe like the customer is getting frustrated with them in the way that they're presenting, you can address that immediately with that salesperson based on the customer feedback that you collected, right? But you have to be ready
That's true.
to review it and then adapt your strategy based on that feedback that you're getting.
And one final question for you, Rod. I think it can be frustrating, especially for people who are newer to the sales industry. The demo step is very personal compared to the things that come before it. A lot of times you get to be face to face with them. You have in depth conversations. I think it can be tough sometimes when those post conversations get ignored or drop off. How do you keep your sales team? How do you stay motivated when things don't work out after the demo process?
Yeah, I mean, I the on the sales side, I won't give it to you on the customer side. Like I think like on the sales side is just moving on to the next one, right? Like just there's always going to be more opportunities, and focus on those new
Yep.
opportunities. I think like you have to work closely with the marketing team in order to get those deals. If you demo and you don't close on the first call, let's say you have a 30% close rate on demos, you're doing well, right? Like on a one call close system.
Sure.
If But I mean, what I've seen other companies do is actually like they're still closing, like another like 10 to 15% on top of the 30% when it's follow up. But usually that is a combination of marketing, the marketing team actually like creating the retargeting ads, creating the follow up and the content that they need to nurture that relationship, as well as the personal touches of the sales team, right? So don't get too caught up in the fact that they don't close on the first call. They just probably just need a little bit more information. If you follow this process that we just spoke about, I think you're gonna do really well at increasing your close rate on the B backs, right? On the ones that you don't close on the first call.
Great tips as always, Rod, on how to be able to improve your communications after a demo. I hope you have a good rest of your week over in Boston at Inbound, and thanks for taking some time to connect.
Absolutely. Thank you, Jeff. Have a great day.
You too.